I've been hearing a lot about this. I really don't like the precedent that this is setting for payment processors now having control and censoring games on Steam. A huge amount of small ones got banned, from what I understand. It's just very worrying to see how far this can go. And people could say, "Oh, it's only these types of games," but how long until they start censoring or games have to start considering that these people could target them in the future? How long till that happens, or we start censoring other things in these games? And it makes me concerned, but let's watch and
Imagine
see
a
what they have
world
to
where
say.
your credit card company decides what games you can buy on Steam.
I really
That
don't like this.
unthinkable future just arrived. Valve, known for its hands-off approach, has added a new rule that would change PC gaming forever. Not by law, but by the powers of payment processors like Visa and MasterCard. Starting today, Valve updated its What You Shouldn't Publish on Steam section to include content that may violate the rules set forth by Steam's payment processors and
So
related card
annoying.
networks and banks or internet network providers. In particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. This seemingly vague line has already been used, as SteamDB has reported the removal of a bunch of games, mainly the ones
And you
with
could say, "Oh, this is this is too much." Or, well, these things had all crazy types of material in it, but they were totally fine with it before then. And consenting adults can buy these and had no issues with these types of games until recently. And how long do they start, like I said, worrying about these large games that have some of this material, that have some of these themes in these materials, and how long do those get targeted? Or they worry about that, so they don't even include them beforehand. How long till even like Baldur's Gate? And you could say I'm fear mongering. You could say that, but when does the buck stop? Okay, when dude, I don't like it, dude. I really don't like it.
incest themes. While Valve hasn't explicitly named the names of the reason for this happening, unconfirmed reports and industry patterns strongly point to major players like PayPal, Visa, and MasterCard, the most popular payment methods on Steam. There were even unconfirmed rumors about PayPal's temporary unavailability on Steam pointing to this, but I couldn't find
If I want to play Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball, how long till that stopped? Okay, what if I want to play it? Is that so wrong? Am I a monster for wanting to play the new Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball HD 4K? No, I think I'm actually pretty normal. I think that's actually a pretty fucking normal thing to want to do. Okay, I'm sick of pretending that it's not normal, okay? No one cares. No one cares. Let it go. Let's just fucking go, dude. Let it go. Who cares, man?
anything that confirmed this was directly tied to PayPal. One group, Collective Show, a campaign for women.
And I know they didn't get targeted. I think they didn't get targeted, but that's not the point. It's not the fucking point.
Seems to be the ones mainly responsible, having released several articles and open letters to these payment processors making claims about the games on Steam just within the last few days. So, as these companies took note of this letter and told Valve they were going to leave the platform, Valve was left with adding this rule and giving these payment companies a bunch of power over Steam. This new rule is important because it's not just a small tweak, it's a fundamental change to Steam, as now these payment processors or other companies like internet
And then when does it start going, "Oh, you can't having a religious thing in this game kind of it's a little too much. It's very sensitive subjects. You can't really like." And you could say that's extreme just from what's banned, but when will that come? I worry about I see this as eventual. Like, I don't play any of these types of games that were banned. However, when does it come that these types of things inside games that explore maybe these subjects that can't even be allowed? You know, you want to have the more explicit stuff in there. That's too much. That's too much for them. We can't have that in that game. Let's take that out. And then eventually come down to like, well, is that really, the other thing is, this is kind of targeting a group of people. You have it in their group, and it kind of closely relates to them in some way, and then it gets go further and further down the line, even if it is not that specific groups, but it has like references to maybe a religious group or a cultural group, and bam, that's gone too. Like, I think it's very troublesome that these credit card processors, these payment processors, could have a stranglehold on our gaming media, our artistic outlooks, and things that have been okay for a long time and hasn't had any large effect on people. It's like, do we need some kind of protection? Are we fucking children? I don't know,
Providers
dude.
have direct influence on Steam and what games are allowed on the platform. For many, this is a big worry. If payment companies can decide what
Yes.
adult content is allowed, people are asking what stops them from deciding about other things next.
Yes.
This is where we get into a slippery slope, where one small
Yes.
change could lead to much bigger.
And it does. The slippery. I don't. Everyone said slippery soap doesn't exist, and eventually our media has become half as crazy as it once was. And you could say maybe that's a good thing, but it keep moving it for a long time. People stopped saying retard, and you could say that's silly. But how long do we start moving more and more and more? And more extreme media is starting to be banned out. Like in the 2000s, there is a comic line that I'm recently reading through called Punisher Max. Stuff like that got more funding. There was more reasons to publish it. Not saying that there isn't stuff now, but those things were abundant. And eventually, as culturally we move on, how do we start saying that these things just shouldn't exist? That these things are necessarily bad for their existence? And Punisher Max is written by Garth Ennis. It's pretty brutal comic. Manga I've read recently, Jugon, pretty explicit, brutal manga. But these things, I do like the existence of these things. What if one point I can't even buy Jugon if I wanted to buy a manga from that? And maybe that's too much for these processors that explore these things. How long till that happens? It just
Unwanted
I don't like
changes
it.
down the road.
I really don't
now,
like
it's
it.
important to understand that Valve was likely left with very few choices in this situation, as not listening to the payment process.
Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe. But it just seems like that's the case. It seems like things have kind of already culturally moved in a different way, that having these things in there is already worrisome to some people. And then eventually they're going to try to take it out completely. I mean, there's so many memes now. And why do you want to base it on meme? But like, things used to be way edgier or have like more of a bite to it, or explored subjects that maybe weren't okay by today's standards. How long till that's just completely like banned? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And the fact that they're even doing this makes it. I think it's fair to have these concerns. When does the buck stop?
Would have led to them removing their services from the platform, which is what many have reported happened already by PayPal shortly before this rule was added. Now, to truly understand how big this change is, we need to look at Steam's past. This isn't about the specific adult games taken down.
Yeah.
It's about a complete reversal of Valve's long-standing hands-off
Because
approach.
Valve, that's very true. Valve has had this standard of Wild West type of shit, and now people are gonna have to think twice. I don't know, and especially after, Valve is like, I love Valve, and it does make me worried.
To moderation. Before, Steam allowed a lot of games on the platform, as long as it wasn't outright illegal. The main times Valve would take down a game were if it had some malware inside, broke one of the very few Valve rules, or a specific government requested to get it removed. Valve's position with moderation and the relaxed rules led to Steam having a large number of adult games and sometimes other controversial content. This position Valve had brought them a bunch of complaints. In 2018, Steam faced criticism for a hate group problem due to lax enforcement against hate speech. Now, this wasn't a game, but it shows how Valve generally handled moderating across the entire platform. In December 2022, US Senator Maggie Hassan even questioned Valve's efforts regarding Nazism, white supremacy, and misogyny on the platform. In late 2024, ADO made a report about how Steam had an extremism and anti-Semitism problem, which led to another US Senator, Mark Warner, asking Valve to do something or face further scrutiny by the US government. But Valve usually just ignored these complaints and requests for stronger moderation. As long as nothing was outright illegal or broke their existing rules,
Thank you.
they generally wouldn't intervene with the content on their platform. So now, payment processors are no longer just handling your transactions, they're becoming content gatekeepers with
Yeah.
massive power over what can be bought
And the problem is they have such a stranglehold. If you join a lot of these larger banks, you're using these payment processors, and now these payment processors has direct control on what you view and state in the media, and it's now becoming a problem, to say the least. I really don't like their ability to do this. I could understand why that might be the case to some degree. I could think of reasons why they'd want to do that, if I'm being 100% fair. But to start, like, shaping culture in the whatever fucking robot existence they want us to exhibit, or what kind of, like, square box gray life they expect us to fucking live based on their standards, I don't like it.
Thing is, this isn't just a Steam issue. This is happening all over, showing a clear pattern. We've seen major hits in Japan's anime and manga market.
There he goes.
For example, platforms like Soruga and Manga Library Z were forced to remove adult content or even shut down because payment processors.
There it is. That's what I was worried about. Jugon, which has a lot of adult content in it. Gantz has adult content in it. And you could say whatever you want about it, but now even these themes in it, are those like completely axed? And how long till they're axed, even if they're not axed? I gotta know if Dead or Alive is axed, but how long I don't know.
Demanded it. Another Japanese platform,
So
BL
stupid.
Site, even tried to fight back, temporarily blocking Visa and MasterCard to keep.
Yeah, actually, I would 100% not, if they gave me the option not to use them. And if they just block them, I would be very happy about that and be like, okay, well, fuck them. It's just the ease of use, and we get so used to things that eventually it starts like it's biting us now. Like, fuck these companies, man.
It's adult content available. Just this year, payment processors in Japan started holding back money from adult game creators on Steam. This was such a big deal that it led to an official investigation by the Japanese government into these payment companies and their practices. It's not just Japan either. OnlyFans in 2021 famously announced that they would ban all sexual content because of pressure from their payment processors, until they reversed the decision. Patreon too has faced similar issues in the past. So as we're seeing with Steam's new rule, this isn't just Valve's problem. It's a widespread issue showing how these powerful payment companies like Visa and MasterCard are deciding what gets sold and what doesn't across the internet. The thing is, now we're seeing this first step. If payment processors can now influence certain kinds of adult-only content, the real question is, where does it stop? This is the big concern for many people.
Yes.
If these powerful companies can block one type of content today...
That's my concern. And you could say it's overreacting, oh, whatever, blah, you just care about blah, 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 gooner, blah, blah, blah. It's not even about that. It's really not. It's how long until they move to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And eventually, we have like a neutered, half-conscious product of what we used to have.
Prevents them from moving on to other types tomorrow? Could it be games that talk about different political topics?
Yes.
What about games that tell stories?
That's what I'm saying. Oh, you can't have this culturally relevant thing in here. Oh, you can't have this political thing in here. Oh, you can't have this too close to this. Oh, this is affected a lot of people. You can't think about when.
People might find controversial or challenging. Could they even push for changes on games that don't fit certain beliefs, even if they're perfectly legal? The door is now wide open. Before, Steam decided. But with Valve's new rule, these payment processing companies and others like internet providers now have a huge say for what's allowed on Steam. This means they could, in the future, decide what games you buy, not based on...
The problem is it would screw these companies. Like, I want them to say, fuck you. We have our own things now, and you can deal through that, but it would screw them over. I mean, the best thing you could do is protest these payment processors, because I really don't like it. I really don't like the stranglehold they have, and that makes me worried. I don't. Now that they're coming for they first came for other people, and now they've come for me. They've come for the gamers, and I won't stand here silently I will not, okay? I will fight by screaming into my microphone and writing mean comments to them. No, it's really shitty, man.
Laws,
This
but
sucks,
on
bro.
their rules. This is a big deal because it takes away control from Valve and gives it to these companies whose main job isn't about games or art, but about money and transaction. Now,
Yep.
I've already seen a few different suggestions
Soulless.
from different Steam users, including exploring different payment options, like maybe crypto, or even the possibility of Valve developing its own payment system.
I'm
Think of a Valve Pay.
I'm joining, dude. Connect it to my bank account. I'll join. 100%. Fuck them.
To get around these restrictions entirely. Valve's new rule, which is directly influenced by powerful payment processors, card companies, banks, and internet providers, marks a big moment for the platform. What do you think Valve should do? Should payment processors have this much power?
No. Fuck them. You know, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe there is some sensible people who could talk me down. And, say, give me some feedback on what their thoughts are and how, you know, maybe it's kind of feeding into it. But I think it's very valid concerns to see how far this could be pushed. I don't like this. I don't like any of this. And I could see how this can, I think anybody could see how this can eventually push things a little too far. If this does worry you, understandably, I'm annoyed by it. But yeah, anyways, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to tip your waiter and kiss a baby goodnight. Take it easy, guys.